Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to finally be making a video about the books that I so desperately want to read that I have not gotten to for some reason that I just can't quite explain. So most of you guys know that I have a ton of books that still need to be read on my shelf. I do have a TBR jar which houses over 150 books, maybe more, I don't remember the count. I've always wanted to make a TBR video, but I haven't got the chance. I didn't know which books I really wanted to read until I recently started to get into more of the other books that I've read. The list isn't really that long, but these are just the books that I really want to get to as soon as I can. So the first one is going to be A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin. And you guys know how much I love to read the Game of Thrones books, and I've been trying to get into this, but I've always been stopped. It's not that the book is not good. It's just really hard for me to keep reading it continuously like other books I have on my shelf. But I do want to try and get into this book again and just finish it once and for all so I can keep reading the series. The next one is just the rest of the series, or what has been written so far in the series. You guys know what I'm talking about. These lovely books. Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, Assassin's Blade, and of course Empire Storms. I'm actually currently reading this one this month. I haven't started yet because I'm still trying to finish an advanced copy I have. But as soon as I'm finished with that one, I will be reading Heir of Fire. So hopefully it won't take me that long. The last time I read a Sarah book in the Throne of Glass series was probably a couple months ago, and that was Crown of Midnight, and I was very upset at the ending because it was such a cliffhanger and it just made me so mad. So it's actually surprising that I haven't read the next book after that. This is what happens when you have over 100 books on your shelves that you want to read at the same time. I'm actually hoping that once I do finish Heir of Fire, I'm just going to continue reading the rest of the books that are out right now. That way I can read Empire Storms and review that. The next book on my list is The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. And I've heard so much about this book, especially from Benjamin Alderson of Benjamin of Tombs. And I really want to read this book. It's about people competing to become an enchanter of the Tsar. I've heard some things on Goodreads that this book is just another everyday fantasy book that you see in the bookshelves, and how there's not enough drama or actually fighting going on, that it's just boring. But hopefully I'll end up liking it because I've heard a lot of people like this book, so I'm not going to go by just the reviews on Goodreads. I'm hopefully going to get to this as soon as I can, and hopefully my opinion will be very different from those on Goodreads. The next book is the same as A Storm of Swords, where I can't read it continuously and not stop reading it. It is Dragonfly Amber by Gabaldon. This book I probably started like 2 or 3 times. The part where I mainly stop at is where we see Jamie again, and then I just stop reading it. I don't know why I stopped reading it. I try to read it all the way through, but I just can't. To be honest, I did have the smaller version of the book, and then I found the bigger version, and I'm hoping that will help me read it continuously because there's something about just smaller books where I can't just read it on and on and on and not stop. So hopefully with the bigger book I'll be able to flip through it easily. The next book is Dreamology by Keating, and this is about a girl whose dream boy actually comes into her real life, and he's not exactly what he seems. I first saw this book on Taylor Reid's Instagram post, and I thought the cover was absolutely gorgeous. And of course the setting of the story and what it's about just seems absolutely amazing, so I really want to get to read this. Who wouldn't want their dream boy to exist in their real world? And how much would it suck if that dream boy was not your dream boy in the real world? This just seems like a very interesting read that is definitely up my alley. The next book is Bruen Rising by Leigh Bardugo. I have read the first 2 books in the series, and I'm really anxious to read this one. I actually got it at BookCon this past year and had Leigh sign it. This just follows up to Elena following the Darkling and leaving Mal behind. So I'm really anxious to know how the story ends, because when I finished the second book, I was very confused about the Darkling again. Because when I read the first book, I thought the Darkling was a good guy. And it seemed kind of funny because, you know, the Darkling is not really a good guy name. And then in the end of that first book, I was just like, really? And I even told Leigh that. I told her that I was very confused. I'm like, what are you doing with Darkling? I don't know what to think of him. Who is he? And she wouldn't give me any answers. And then at the end of the second book, it seemed like the Darkling actually had heart. So I was very confused. It's like, who is this character? I don't know who he is. Is he bad? Is he good? What is he doing? So I'm very anxious to read this and find out what the heck is going on. The next book is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. And I just really want to read this because this was so hard to get. It took me quite a while, quite a few months to actually get this advanced copy in the mail. I had to email so many people. I tried entering giveaways, and then finally I actually got it in the mail, and I was so happy. So really, that's why I want to read it, because everybody else has read it and they said it's so good. So I'm going off of their opinions, and this storyline seems really interesting as well. It seems really fun, really dark, really suspenseful. So I really want to get to read this before it comes out in January. Next up is Hollow City by Ransom Riggs, and of course I want to read this because I just saw the movie of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. The last time I read the first book was probably close to a year ago, and it's still fresh in my mind what happened, so I'm really anxious to know what happens with the kids in the next book, and of course what happens to Miss Peregrine, because the movie really changed some things, and I'm glad that I remember what happened in the first book, so I'll be ready to read the second book and just follow through. The next book is A List of Cages by Robin Rowe. This took me a while to get because I could not find the contact information to get this advanced copy, but I actually just tweeted the author. I was like, hey, I need to request this advanced copy. Can you help me out? And within a week, I got this copy in the mail. And I'm actually even setting up an interview with the author herself, Robin Rowe. This book is about a boy who gets into an elective class where he helps a school psychologist, and he thinks it's just going to be a breeze. But the school psychologist wants help in finding a boy that keeps dodging her. And so Adam finds out it's Julian who's been keeping secrets. And it's just a wavelength of all these secrets that Adam has to find out about Julian. This book comes out in January of next year, and I'm hoping to get to it in just a few weeks. That way I can set up an interview with Robin Rowe and review it on my channel for those who want to read it next year. Last but not least, we have Replica by Lauren Oliver. I'm going to be honest, I found this by accident. I was at Walmart doing grocery shopping, and every time I'm at Walmart, I go down to the book section just to see what they have. Normally, it's a sucky selection because my Walmart's very small, but I look down, and here is this book, and I look at it, I'm like, what is this doing at Walmart? This is very weird, because they don't really have most of the new books that you expect to see. But they had it, and I got it. I've heard a lot of things about this book, how it's told in 2 different point of views, or you can read it, you know, going straight through where it switches the point of views. I haven't really read that kind of book in a long time. I don't remember what book it was that I read that was kind of like that. It's been a while. But I do think the cover is just gorgeous. It's just a blue cover for Lyra, and we've got the yellow cover for Gemma. I just heard so many awesome things about this book. I've heard mixed things, but I do want to read this because the covers are just so beautiful and the storyline seems so interesting. So I'm really excited to get to read this soon, and I do hope to get to it as soon as I can. That's all the books for right now. I'm sure I'm going to have more in the next month or so because Christmas is coming up, so who knows what I'm going to get. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow my Instagram, follow my Twitter, like my Facebook page, follow my Snapchat, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!